On today's episode of Watch Jericho, we are of course leaving Salem, Massachusetts with the BMW i8 and trying to make it home. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Jericho, and today, like I said, here in the hotel room in Salem, Massachusetts. And this is honestly a really cool place. Check that bad boy out. Ooh, they got the big Generac right there. That's a monster. Natural gas feed. The power must never go out in this hotel with that bad boy. Anyway, Salem, super fun. Even better than I thought. Had a ton of fun with Rich, and it's just an interesting place to drive around. Like I said in the Hellcat tuning video, the statues here are insane. There's so many of them. Everywhere you look, there's more statues and art, and it's kind of cool. So, we are packing up right now. I gotta grab the flex key. Of course, last night I charged the flex key back up to 100%, not knowing how long the battery lasts in this weird key. You know what's weird about it? Okay, actually I just learned how to use it. There's a power button on the side. Alright, so I thought you had to hit the BMW button, which locks the car every single time, and the car is being really weird about locking right now. So I gotta get that figured out, but yeah, you can push this little power button to turn the screen on. So we're good to go. Flex keys, ready to rock. It says the car's only at 25%, but the car is also on the charger downstairs. Shout out to hotels that have free charging. I think it might have been $2 actually, but yeah, super cheap charging, and you can have your own parking spot. That's also a bonus. Anyway, the i8 should be ready to go. Toss the flex key in my pocket. We'll grab everything else I need, and let's get out of here. If I haven't mentioned it 70 times before, it is 24 hours straight of driving. We're not talking like with breaks. 24 hours of driving back to Wichita, so it's gonna be a very long day. In fact, it's probably gonna be one where we end up in another hotel tonight, because I have a feeling I will be incredibly tired after the first half of that. That is one good looking car. Check out the i8 creeping over here in the dark, and of course it's on the charge point. Not mad about that at all. Let's see. It says $1 an hour. It cost me, I think it said $2 in the app to charge this thing. Let's see if the car gets angry. And we're gonna just find out what it's like to live with the i8. $2.15. Not bad at all. Obviously, this battery doesn't hold a lot of power. It'll probably only make it like 20 miles on the charge. This is such a weird thing too. Why do you have to put a cover back on over the charge port and then close the door? It's really not like that in any other car. I assume there was just too much water coming in. But yeah, we might get 20 miles of range, but I figure it was worth plugging in since the charger was there. So, let's go have some fun. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Rich bagged the seats in the first video when they had it detailed. They put in the footwell liners. It's time to throw these away because they slide around while you're trying to drive. But it just looks amazing. Just what an interior. Good morning, Salem, Massachusetts. Oh wait, it's not cool at all. Like nothing happened. You guys know how that's supposed to work. You push the button, the supercar rips to life, and it makes all the racket, and it's a hybrid. Nothing happened at all. It just gently woke up, and there we go. Well, we're like 40, 50 miles into the trip now. That's about an hour. And something just happened. I heard something, like, well, I saw something small, this big, go flying out of the back. And I was surprised because I didn't see it in the road, but I was like, I don't know, it was something small, it didn't matter. And all of a sudden, there's a rattle out of the front end. So something fell off, and I don't know what. Sorry about the car's ridiculous beeping here. There we go. Let's go see what's going on with that. Hopefully we can find like a wheel well liner. I think that's what it is. And it came loose. Who knows? Push fastener came out, and hopefully we can fix it. We'll need to be rerouting to the nearest O'Reilly's or something. What is it? It could be this. Oh, it might really be that. Oh, it's supposed to be up here. The arrow. See this like double-sided tape? That's usually how these are held on. I kind of think that's what it is. There's nothing dragging on the ground under the car. We can definitely see that. So that's not bad. Wheel well liner looks great. I don't see anything weird in here. The hood's moving around more than I'd like as well. It's doing this. Almost like the latch is kind of... Okay. I trust that. Passenger side solid. Everything looks solid. Look at all that aero down there. Huge duct. Okay. Check the driver's side. I'm a little less worried now. Oh, the arrow's missing on that one. The little piece that kind of ties it back, but I don't think it's a problem. It's all solid. Well, cool. Let's find double-sided tape because zip ties aren't gonna help me. But there's a good chance this is what's going on. Are there screws in it? If there are, we're good, we'll just drive. If it's double-sided tape, I'm gonna rip it off. It's screwed in. We're gonna lose it, I know for sure. 2 screws came out. 3 screws came out. Let's just delete the arrow. I wish I had a screwdriver. We'll put this all back together later. Look, this isn't on Rich. Every car with this eBay arrow is screwed on just like that. So we'll just toss this in the back and hopefully no more rattling noise. I think that was it. You can see, oh, there were screws too and they disappeared. And they usually have spacers. That one might have had the spacer on it and the spacer is just gone. So arrow delete. I really hope this was our noise. It probably was, just knowing how these things always are. All right, let's get back on the road. Hopefully no more weird noise. It's so funny that it starts up and makes no noise. So I ripped that splitter off. I threw it in the back. Obviously we're back on the road, but now the coolant temp is much hotter than it was the last time I looked at it. It's right in front of my face because of course the coolant temp is on the steering wheel. And before we were seeing like 170s, 180s. Now it's at 210. Well, now 208. So hopefully we're gonna be okay there. I talked to Sam Crack yesterday and he was like, whatever you do, if it says low coolant, pull over. Because that's what happens to all of the i8s. It says low coolant and everyone keeps driving them and then they lose their head gasket. So taking Sam Crack's advice, obviously, if this thing pops up with any errors, we're gonna stop for those too. But, oh, look at that. We're going downhill, 206, and one of them says 194. It has 2 coolant temp gauges. I feel like the 194 might be a bit off, but that I'm way more comfortable now. So, main thing we're watching out for on this drive is coolant temp issues, low coolant, and we'll just keep right on grinding. This thing's gonna have almost 40,000 miles when I get home. Because we left it around 38,000 miles, it will clearly be over 39 and probably be like 39.6. It's a long trip, a lot of miles. So far, so good, guys. I just stopped for gas and I figured since I stopped, I might as well just do everything, hit the bathroom, hit the food. So we're stopping at McDonald's as well, but no new lights on the dash, no new noises. Obviously that noise, the flapping noise that I was super worried about was clearly the arrow because it hasn't happened again. And I don't even see the hood bouncing. I think that thing was pushing the whole front bumper around. So hopefully we're doing okay now. I'm gonna run inside here. I'll get refueled and we'll jump back on the road. Hopefully the i8 has no problems. Well, now we actually broke the car. That dump truck right back there, I was really far away from him and he threw up apparently a gigantic rock and smoked the windshield. And it's an original BMW windshield with all of this crazy technology in it. Oh, I just hope it doesn't break anymore. I mean, it broke like instantly, a 1-inch star, and I'm hoping I can fix that, but the windshield has to hold up until I get home. Oh yeah, it's 1 inch in like every direction. There's a good chance I can fix it with resin, but that was like, I really should have like stopped and got his insurance. Like, it was definitely a rock falling out of the back of the dump truck that I just couldn't see. And I must have had at least 500 foot back from him. I was way back there. And I bet this windshield could be like $1,500. It is still a BMW windshield. Who knows? Who knows what an i8 windshield costs? Maybe we'll call and figure it out. If you guys can see it, right above the speaker, that huge star. So if the car didn't have enough problems for us to solve, at least we've got one more, kind of a bonus. Update, BMW only charges $100 for an oil change on this car. And I saw that Rich just had it serviced at BMW as well. I was like, yeah, maybe it's a good idea to just let them do it because they can mess with this 3-cylinder nonsense. They use full synthetic oil. Why not? 100 bucks, not too bad. Windshield, $2,000, bad. So
it's like $16.70 for the windshield, and $70 more for the top molding, $30 more for the rain sensor adhesive, which has to be stripped off, and $75 more for ADAS programming, and none of that includes install. So I would assume another 100 or 200 for install. So we could have Ryan install it. I could buy the glass, have Ryan install it. But the reality is, this crack just has to hold on until I can get home, and I'll repair it, and it'll never happen again. Like, it'll be good. All my repairs with the Rain-X kit have held up forever, so we have to save this $2,000 piece of glass. And honestly, there's really no other option. It has to be saved. So I hope it makes it home. Well, guys, we couldn't do it. I can't risk a $2,000 windshield, obviously. And if that crack, I mean, if this thing gets jostled around on the roads, because I'm in Pennsylvania, which it will get destroyed. It could make that crack way bigger, and then we can't fix it. So stopped at Walmart, got the Rain-X kit, obviously, and some microfiber towels. So we're gonna wipe off the windshield real quick. You can still see the rock, like it hits so hard. Look at that. It's huge. It's huge. Glass is coming out of it. So the microfiber towel should pull that out. We're gonna put a bottle into the wiper blade to get us some space, and then we're gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix that too. I don't know how that got jammed in there. It's been in there for like 200 miles now. I know it's hard to see, but it's getting better. I think I need to go pull it, get the air bubbles out, add more resin, and push it one more time. The center of the bullseye is gone, but the spider cracks are not. And we gotta get it all fixed. So, a little better. As fast as we can, because we need sun to cure it. The sun's going down, it's getting cold. Everything about this is rough. All right, guys, I think we're down to one tiny little crack. It looks like a 1/4 inch crack now instead of the like 2 inch long one we had before. I know it's really hard to see this, but the curing strip's on there now, so it needs time to UV cure. There's a little bit. I can see a little bit of a vertical one too. But either way, it should be stabilized and it should make it home, and that's what matters. I just don't want to lose the glass. I definitely don't care about having to fix it later, but fixing it right now is a pain. Of course, I packed my Escort Redline 360. I love that radar detector, love having it on road trips. Tried to hook it up once we got underway. Guess what? The 12-volt outlet in the console is dead too. And I tried every position. I turned it like a full 360, seeing if it was just a contact issue. No, I think the outlet's dead, and we got to go hunt down some fuses, get out a meter. We'll get that sorted out too. So this has been an exciting trip, and we're just barely in. There's 19 hours left. We're only down 5 hours technically, which is crazy because we've had to stop so many times. Breakfast, gas, lunch, and then again at Walmart for nearly an hour while I tried to fix the windshield, buy the stuff, get all that done. So the windshield looks like it's holding. The resin's still up there. I've got the resin curing strip on it, and I'm trying to, well, there's nothing I can do, but I'm hoping the front end is pointed at the sun as much as possible to get that stuff cured. All right, our last update before the sun goes down. A beautiful sunset here in Pennsylvania. Look at the giant hills in the background. You can see down there on the windshield, the resin strip is still holding on, protecting our work up there. And other than that, the i8 is doing absolutely great. We're making pretty good time. Who knows where we're gonna end up tonight, but we're just gonna go as far as we can until I'm exhausted. And then we're gonna stop for a hotel and I gotta do some work. Then we'll get right back on the road and get this thing home. This is a long trip. I thought I'd be a lot farther than this already, but we're probably 2 hours behind the ball if I had to guess, which is kind of a lot for the short amount of time we've been on the road, 6 or 7 hours now. Also, there's a state trooper following me. I don't know if he's actually following me. He's like 2 miles back, but I'm just watching his lights to see what he does. He pulled out of one of those center dividers that Pennsylvania has, just tons of them. It's clearly just revenue generation, you know. You can see, oh, hey, look at that. He just turned on his turn signal, and he pulled into another center thing. We're good. He's been back there for like 5, 6, 7 miles. I don't know, a long time. I wasn't speeding or anything, but when they pull out after you, you have to assume that it's your turn to have a conversation on the side of the road for a minute. Either way, we are all good now. The sun is going down. We're seeing the last couple minutes of it, and hopefully these headlights are amazing, because at minimum we're like 5 more hours of driving tonight. So far this is the 3rd gas stop, which means we're doing pretty good because these gas stops don't take that much gas. So it's basically empty. It had a little bit left on the last bar. It just has 4 bars on the dash. There's not like an analog gauge or anything like that. It does move down slowly, but we were at like the end of the 4th bar, so just about empty. And let's see, I'm just guessing it has about a 7 or 8 gallon tank. It might be a 10-gallon tank, but we usually end up taking about 7. So any second now, it should be full, which means we're probably, I'll look it up. I'll look it up later, but I think we might have $100 in it so far. It is using a little more gas than I thought, because we're getting 32.4 miles a gallon, which is insane for a supercar, the Super Prius. But yeah, there you go, 8.8 gallons. So it's a 9 or 10 gallon tank, probably 10 in reality, and 40 bucks, not bad. Time for another fuel stop. It's not out this time, but we're up to 32.7 miles per gallon in the Super Prius. I'm pretty pumped about that. That's wild. That's almost as good as my Volt. This supercar looking carbon fiber BMW, better mileage than a car that was made to get gas mileage. How crazy is that? I think they're roughly the same. So it does need premium. It costs a bit more to run. But yeah, about midnight, so we're stopping real quick. It should be 1 when we pull into the hotel. So let's fill this thing up and get back on the road. You know what, it's late, I'm hungry. We're stopping at Taco Bell. We're gonna grab some quick food because I still have work to do tonight. So after we get to the hotel at 1, we gotta keep on grinding. And at this point, we're gonna get to the hotel at like 1:30. Well, we are in the super late night hours now. I know it says 11:54, but it's the wrong time zone. The correct time zone, yeah, it's 12:54. So you can see the coolant temps right there on the steering wheel. It's doing great. You know, it even unloads and does better than that when it's not climbing any hills. But yeah, we're going 76 mile an hour, 32.8 miles a gallon right now, which is pretty epic. And hopefully you guys can see, I don't know if you can see the heads-up display creeping in the glass there. You have to love that heads-up. It shows cruise is set in the top. It will also show the speed. That right there, you guys can see that. It shows the speed limit, it shows how fast I'm going, and it shows the directions. And when you're coming up on a turn, it actually shows the entire street, not just lane guidance like Google Maps. It shows the whole street. The car seems to be doing great, but there's one more important update. Of course, I hit Taco Bell. I ordered a beefy melt burrito, whatever it is. I just wanted one quick thing, keep me alive for this last like hour and a half grind. And then the guy was like, hey, we don't have any rice. So I took it, I got my water, opened up my burrito and started eating it. They filled the entire burrito with nacho cheese like it was ice cream or something like that. So it was just beef, nacho cheese, and I think it was red strips, but there was so much nacho cheese. I might not survive. I could just have a heart attack right now. But anyway, I ate it. It was okay. It would have been better with rice. But I've got my water and I got some food, so we are good to go. I was dragging before. But yeah, 20 miles till the next exit, and I think at that exit, we're at the hotel. I should also mention Highway 71 here in Ohio is amazing. What a road. There hasn't been a pothole on this road for probably 2 hours or something like that. It's absolutely flawless. Well, good morning, guys. It is obviously the next day, and we're heading out of the hotel, ready to jump back on the road. Unfortunately, the forecast today calls for tornadoes through a lot of the Midwest, basically everywhere I'm driving. But we're loaded up, we got our waters, grabbed the waters from the hotel room, of course, and heading back to the car to jump in, get the windshield fixed, and get back on the road. I left the cure strip on the windshield overnight. Hopefully that kept any contaminants out of that. Now it's time to razor blade that off of there so we don't mess with the wipers, because today we're gonna need them. Oh, and we are here in a very rainy Columbus, Ohio. That's where I ended up stopping. Well, now is as good a time as ever to update you guys on day 2. I filled up this morning. I filled up one more time and grabbed some lunch, and I am currently about, I guess I could just push the button and it will tell me immediately. I love the navigation in this thing. Love the navigation. So the finish line pops up 537 miles from the house. And that literally shows me miles to destination in the gauge cluster here under the speedometer, which is really cool. So I'm basically stopped here in traffic. Waze says I'll be sitting here for another 9 minutes. Other than this, today's been pretty uneventful. We haven't lost another windshield yet. Nothing's fallen off the car. The 12-volt cigarette lighter, I don't know if I mentioned it, the accessory outlet is not working, and I still haven't found a place to stop and get that fixed. Then again, it's not the highest thing on my priority list. We're just gonna try to get home. So I should be home at 1 in the morning with the i8, and assuming nothing goes wrong, but so far it's doing great and I am enjoying the drive. And the coolest thing about being in traffic is I can hit the eDrive button, shut the engine off, and it just sits here in traffic completely silent. You get all the regen, you get all the electric motor. Check it out. Like, you can hear the semi beside me is twice as loud as this car. The only thing you hear in this is just that little whir of the tire noise, which is a lot. If you didn't know, Blizzaks are loud. If I change these to something else, say Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, it would be way quieter. I was following this Kia. Let's see if anybody wants to let us in. I know where this Kia is going, straight in front of that semi. But there's even more room. You could just keep going. I will probably follow the Kia's lead. I could just keep going. There's another mile before the signs. Let's rock and roll. Just a quick PSA, if people would zipper merge and do it at speed, there would be no traffic in these construction zones. Don't stop, don't line up early, just full speed ahead and let the cars in. And everybody can keep going 70 miles an hour and the traffic can go down to 1 lane, no problem at all. Instead, everybody gets over early and just stops on the highway. It's a weird thing to do. But we are still in eDrive and it's just absolutely silent in here other than those tires outside, and we'll be out of the construction in a moment and back on the road. Well, here we are at the last fuel stop of the trip. Another $30. It is kind of fun that it only takes like $30 at an average gas price, which is like $3.50. Up on the East Coast, gas price was like $5 a gallon, so it was a little bit more expensive, but pretty much 7 to 8 gallons every time we filled up. It's very fuel efficient. The car says it's getting 32.8 miles per gallon, maybe 32.6 right now, but honestly, insane gas mileage for a supercar, and it's been a great trip. So the next update, we should be home. We have just enough range to make it all the way home from wherever we're at right now, which is north of Kansas City. So it shouldn't take too much longer, 4 more hours, and I can go to bed. Now, many of you may not believe this, but contrary to everything you've ever heard about BMWs from us on the internet, because we buy a lot of broken BMWs, this thing made it 1,600 miles without a single check engine light. Now, it does have some warnings and some things we're gonna look into, and obviously now it's probably due for an oil change after 1,600 miles straight. And there's a warning about the rear camera that pops up every once in a while and says like rear camera inoperative, but it works every time. Come on, BMW, figure out your warnings. And also the key died. I don't know why, but the flex key was completely dead when I got home after a single day basically. So that was a little ridiculous, but hopefully charging it solves that problem for a long time. That's it. Huge shout out to Uncle Rich for selling me this BMW i8 because it was a pretty great road trip other than driving, 24 hours in a car. I highly recommend shipping cars and not doing this. Everything hurt. This arm from holding the steering wheel, it hurt. My side hurt from the bolster, and these seats fit me wonderfully. Everything hurt after sitting in the car that long. But we got it done. It's home. And I love the car. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjrgo.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. 32 miles a gallon when I got back home. It had dropped about 1 full mile per gallon. We were in the strongest headwinds and the wind was blowing this car all over the road. I was watching semis, flying back and forth between the lanes. They were just trying to keep control. So it was even rough in the BMW. Now it's time to go wash it, clean it up after all the road trip debris, and go have some fun with it. What a great car. In the next episode, we'll get this thing on a lift and figure out what's really wrong with it. We're gonna scan the thing, maybe we'll find 100 codes, and we'll change that oil.